China's sanctions on Taiwan's U.S. representative. In a recent tweet, N.D.P Kim stated, "Wow, the PRC, People's Republic of China, just sanctioned me again for the second time." N.D.P Kim, Taiwan's de facto ambassador to the United States. What could this mean for tensions between the two global powerhouses? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you new here, we are N.D.P News, a channel dedicated to exploring the fascinating world of geopolitics and current international affairs with daily coverage. Our goal is to keep you informed and up to date with all the latest news, insights, and analysis from around the world. Thanks for joining us. In a move that has raised tensions between the United States and China, Beijing has imposed sanctions on U.S. figures linked to the recent visit of Taiwan's president, Tsai Ing-wen, to the United States. The sanctions have targeted both the Ronald Reagan Library and the Hudson Institute, both of which hosted Tsai during her visit to the U.S. Specifically, the sanctions have targeted 4 U.S. nationals, including the chair and director of the Hudson Institute, as well as the current head and former director of the Reagan Foundation. These sanctions have been imposed in response to Tsai's meeting with U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy during a stopover in Los Angeles, and are part of China's ongoing efforts to assert its territorial claims over Taiwan. The sanctions prohibit the targets and their family members from entering mainland China, Hong Kong, and Macau, and also prohibit investors and firms related to the targets from cooperating with mainland organizations and individuals. This represents a significant escalation of China's efforts to isolate Taiwan diplomatically and raise concerns about the impact of U.S.-China relations. Furthermore, a second round of sanctions has been unveiled against N.D.P Kim, Taiwan's de facto ambassador to the U.S. This move is particularly significant, as Xiao has been a prominent advocate for Taiwan's independence, and her appointment as ambassador was seen by many as a deliberate provocation by Taipei. China's Taiwan Affairs Office has leveled accusations against U.S. institutions and executives of providing a platform and convenience for Tsai to engage in Taiwan independent separatist activities. This accusation is not the first of its kind, as China has always been apprehensive about Taiwan's independence movements and any potential support they receive from foreign entities. Also, the Chinese government has announced punishments on the Prospect Foundation, a Taiwanese organization with former ministers and executives on its board, and the Regional Council of Asian Liberals and Democrats. The reason behind these sanctions is the accusation that both organizations have gone all out to ingratiate themselves with anti-China forces. Despite these sanctions, it is unlikely that senior Taiwanese officials will be impacted, as they do not visit China, and Chinese courts do not have jurisdiction in Taiwan. These sanctions appear to be more symbolic than practical. This move from China comes on the heels of the deployment of People's Liberation Army (PLA) warships through waters around Taiwan, and the Chinese government's firm and forceful response to Tsai meeting with McCarthy. China had repeatedly warned against this meeting, and it deployed an aircraft carrier strike group through waters southeast of Taiwan just hours before the talks. In another development, the Taiwanese Defense Ministry reported that 3 additional PLA warships, 1 fighter jet, and 1 ship-launched anti-submarine helicopter were detected near Taiwan, inside its air defense identification zone. The ministry spokesperson commented that these ships were ones that are normally around the Taiwan Strait. Japan's Ministry of Defense reported a Chinese intelligence gathering ship sailing between Japan's Okinawa and Miyakojima Islands, northeast of Taiwan. It also reported the return journey of a PLA Navy guided missile frigate detected about 100 kilometers off Taiwan's coast. China has also deployed Coast Guard vessels for unusual board and inspect patrols that have triggered a protest from Taiwan. Taiwan's defense ministry has instructed Taiwanese vessels, including cargo and ferry services, not to cooperate with attempts by the patrol to board and inspect them. The U.S. has called on China to cease its military, diplomatic, and economic pressure against Taiwan, and instead engage in meaningful diplomacy. A State Department spokesman, Vedant Patel, has stated that they remain committed to maintaining open channels of communication to prevent the risk of any kind of miscalculation. Now, if you're enjoying the video, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button and give the video a like. And with that, on we go. Sanctions and military exercises. A flashback of China's aggressive moves against Taiwan. In August of last year, the Chinese government announced its decision to impose visa bans and other sanctions on several Taiwanese political figures, citing its increasing pressure on the self-governing island and the United States. This move followed a series of successive congressional visits, which China viewed as an unacceptable form of collusion and provocation between the US and Taiwan. The Chinese government has long opposed any official contact between foreign governments and Taiwan, as it considers Taiwan to be its own territory. As a result, the government's recent saber-rattling has emphasized its threat to take the island by military force. The sanctions were announced on the same day that a U.S. congressional delegation met with Tsai. It was followed by another visit from U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the highest-level member of the U.S. government to visit Taiwan in 25 years. These visits were viewed as highly provocative by the Chinese government, which responded with nearly 2 weeks of threatening military exercises. These exercises included the firing of missiles over the island and incursions by Navy ships and warplanes across the midline of the Taiwan Strait, which has long been a buffer between the two sides. The U.S. State Department condemned China's actions, calling them a provocative and totally unnecessary response. China's sanctions target several Taiwanese political figures, including Taiwan's de facto ambassador to the U.S., Xiao, and legislators Ke Qingmin, Hu Lingxiang, Sai Ching-chang, Chen Jiahua, and Wang Tingyu, along with activist Lin Feifan. These individuals will be barred from traveling to mainland China, Hong Kong, and Macau, and from having any financial or personal connections with people and entities on the mainland, according to the ruling Communist Party's Taiwan Work Office. These measures were designed to resolutely punish those considered die-hard elements supporting Taiwan's independence. Premier Su Sengchang, leader of the legislature Yu Xing-kun, and Foreign Minister Joseph Wu were already on China's sanction list and will likely face more restrictions. The People's Republic of China has adamantly refused to engage in any form of communication or diplomacy with Taiwan's government since shortly after the 2016 election of Tsai, who was overwhelmingly re-elected in 2020. The Foreign Ministry of Taiwan expressed their gratitude and appreciation for the congressional visit, highlighting the importance of the Taiwanese government's democratic values and its ability to establish meaningful relationships with allies on its own terms, despite the authoritarianism of China. In addition to the political deadlock between China and Taiwan, the Democratic Progressive Party, which is led by Tsai, also holds the majority in Taiwan's legislature. The vast majority of Taiwanese citizens support the status quo of de facto independence, with the strong economic and social connections between the two sides. China has accused the United States of encouraging Taiwan's independence through the sale of weapons and political engagement with the Taiwanese government. The United States, on the other hand, has maintained that it does not support independence and seeks a peaceful resolution to the conflict. However, the U.S. is bound by legal obligation to ensure that Taiwan is able to defend itself against any potential attack. In response to the increased tension, Taiwan has placed its military on high alert. Despite this, the Taiwanese government has taken no major countermeasures against China's aggressive actions. The calm response and widespread ambivalence among the Taiwanese people towards the threat of Chinese aggression can be attributed to their 7-decade-long experience of living under the threat of a Chinese attack. China's response to the McCarthy meeting has so far been on a much lower level, but still left Taiwan on high alert. Tsai said face-to-face meetings with U.S. officials were important for regional peace and called on Beijing to remain calm. But what do you think will result from these recent events? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to check out our other videos on the channel for even more great content. This has been N.D.P News, and we'll see you in the next one.